What is going on, guys? And it is finally official. The Army has approved the new PT test. In past videos I've covered it, and it was called the ACRT, the Army Combat Readiness Test, and now it is officially the ACFT, the Army Combat Fitness Test. And so today I'm going to make another video talking about that. So this video is not going to be me explaining all the 6 different events and stuff. If you want to see that, that is going to be in my ACRT PT test video that I made the first time, where I went over every single exercise that you're going to do. I'm not going to do that video because that's just super repetitive and I don't need to do that, but you guys do need to know that it is still the 6 events that were in the ACRT PT test that was proposed earlier, and that this PT test is going to be implemented in October of 2020, so just over 2 years from now. Now I wanted to make this video because a lot of people ask me, like, should I start preparing for the ACRT or now the ACFT? Should I start preparing for the ACFT? You know, should I start doing or keep doing the push-ups and the sit-ups and the 2-mile run and all that, or should I start preparing for the other thing? And my response has always been, just wait until it actually gets implemented. So right now we got a 2-year basically cushion. We know it's coming. It's coming in about 2 years. And I would say maybe 6 months prior at least, you should start really taking it seriously. So for most of you, you're already gonna have joined. You're already gonna have to go through basic training. You're already gonna be done with all that. You're gonna be at your actual unit. And then you'll know pretty much the exact date on when you personally are gonna have to take your first ACFT PT test. But there's gonna be some people out there who are gonna be taking it now. Previously, during all the testing and everything that's been going on for the ACRT PT test, there was only about 2,000 soldiers that took this. Obviously, they're not gonna implement something if they haven't had people test it out. And right now, there is not a grade scale for how you're gonna do. So right now, you gotta score 0 to 100. A 60% is passing in each event. They're looking at doing about a 100 point scale for each event, so it'll be about a 600 point maximum, but they haven't decided on whether or not you know, this number is going to be a minimum, or this number is going to be the minimum or the maximum or whatever. The only thing that is really interesting though is that this is going to be gender neutral. So the PT test for males and females is going to be the same. The scores are going to be the same. The thing that's different though is the MOS that you have is going to dictate what the minimum scores are going to be. So the maximums, they're saying in this article here, which I will link in the description, the maximums are going to stay the same, but the minimums are going to change depending on your MOS. And that's kind of similar to the OPAT. So the OPAT is a test you got to take now whenever you're joining in. So if you want to go combat arms or a job where you're going to have to be more physically active, basically, you got to take the OPAT and you got to score a little bit higher. It's really not that difficult to score the heavy, which is the best, or get in the best category or whatever, to where you could do like infantry or something like that. It's really not too difficult, but with this, it's kind of similar to that. So if you want to be in infantry, for example, then you're gonna have a higher minimum than somebody who was, for example, basically my old MOS, which was a 25 Bravo. Now, from now on until this test actually gets fully implemented, they're looking at testing it on about 40,000 soldiers. So if you're watching this, you know, after you join and everything, you could be one of the soldiers that are tested on this. But 40,000 isn't that much, and it's across all 3 branches of the Army. So the Army Active Duty, Army National Guard, and the Army Reserves. So you still have a pretty low chance of taking it up until October of 2020. But the thing that's interesting here, and if you've watched my past videos on the ACRT, my biggest complaint for this test was the amount of time that it's going to take and how they were going to score some of the events. So those are my 2 big concerns with this. The biggest one, honestly, was time, because the current PT test takes really at least an hour or so for just the 3 events that require really no equipment except for like a sit-up mat. So it requires very little, minimal equipment, and then it still takes at least an hour. And with the ACFT, there is 6 different events to include the 2-mile run, which require equipment, which require a whole bunch of stuff and a little bit more setup and everything. And so I was really skeptical on how long this is actually going to take. And in that article, they said it should take a soldier between 45 and 55 minutes to complete this test. I think that's probably a little bit quick for doing all 6 events. The only thing that I think would change that is if they shortened the rest period. So with the current PT test, the APFT, you have a 10-minute break in between each of the events. So what you'll do is you'll start with the push-ups, you got a 10-minute break. You'll do the sit-ups, you got a 10-minute break, then you'll do the run, and then you're done. So what I was thinking before was, you know, if you're doing, you know, whatever exercise, if there's a 10-minute break in between each of those exercises, there's 6 exercises, that's an hour of just resting right there. So I'm thinking that I mean, at least definitely if they're going to say it's going to take 45 to 55 minutes, the rest periods are going to be shorter. Maybe there's going to be a different way that they're going to do this, because right now, as it stands with the APFT, what you do is there's, I don't know, maybe 6 different mats or something in front of you, 6 different graders, and you just take your turn, you do your push-ups, take 2 minutes of push-ups, and you just do that, right? And so there's a big line. You go from one event to the next event to the next event. So the thing that I'm thinking that could possibly happen is basically everybody starts with the one event, but they have already the 6 events set up, or the 5 events set up, because for the 2-mile run, I assume everybody's just going to do it together, and you'll probably have a little bit of a rest before that. So if everybody does all of the events together, and you kind of just go from one event to the next, kind of back to back, maybe like a 2-minute break or something like that, that is how I can see this being done in sub 1 hour. Other than that, I don't see how it's really going to work out, or how they're going to do that whole thing. But they're saying 45 minutes to 55 minutes, so I guess we're going to go for that. And I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more things in the future once those 40,000 soldiers will eventually take the PT test, and then the grading scale will come out, because that's what I'm interested in. I'm really interested in this grading scales, because me being a competitive person, getting, you know, 300 on the PT test currently, I want to make sure I can get a 600 on the PT test, which kind of sounds crazy that it's just 600, because you're so used to, or I'm so used to hearing 300 to max out the PT test. So a 600 is my goal. I want to know if I can obtain that. Once they release the scales, maybe I'll just do a test in the meantime. If you guys want to see me just like do a ACFT PT test and just kind of see how I do, obviously I won't be able to see if I pass or fail, which I probably won't fail, but I won't be able to see if I pass or max it out because the scores aren't out yet. So if you want me to do that, it's a pretty good idea. Leave a comment down below. Now the last thing that I want to mention that is different, that I haven't talked about in a previous video, is pertaining to the deadlift. Before, there wasn't really any information on this, and you just had to do a deadlift. Right now, it's looking at the maximum for the deadlift is going to be 420 pounds, and it's with a hex bar. So if you go into a gym normally, people are going to be doing deadlifts with a straight bar. They're going to bend over and whatever. So if you do it on a hex bar, it's going to be a little bit easier. You're going to start at a little bit higher position. So 420 pounds is not as difficult as some people think. You know, maybe if you can do a normal deadlift of 300 pounds, I bet you could probably do 420 pounds. But the difference here that they didn't mention before in their articles and all this kind of stuff was that it's going to be 3 repetitions, which I actually like. I like that this isn't a 1 rep max thing. It is a 3 rep max. And I don't know what the minimum for the deadlift is, but just know that especially with a hex bar deadlift, if you want to improve on it, it's really not that difficult to improve on. I think deadlifts and legs in general, you can pretty much increase your strength of your legs fairly quickly, at least up to a certain point. So I think if you're worried about passing deadlift and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do that right now, you know, don't stress about it too much. If you want, you can go ahead and start training for this stuff. I think deadlifts are going to be something you can really train for. The T push-up, the new variation for the push-up where you have to actually lift your hands off the ground. I did a Sunday push-up video doing that. It's pretty interesting. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder. It's a little bit more difficult. It incorporates a little bit more muscles than the normal PT test, which is good. It just feels a little bit weird having to lift your hands up off the ground every single time you do a push-up, because it's just weird to me. I mean, I've done like tens of thousands of push-ups the normal way, so I guess if I go to a gym and I'm doing push-up and I'm lifting my hands off the ground, people who are just civilians are going to be looking to be like, why are you doing push-ups like that? And I'll be like, oh, you know, this is the Army PT test. So that's going to be something kind of funny to work around to actually start training and doing that. So if you want to start training on some of the specific events like the leg tuck, the deadlift, or you know, the T push-up and stuff, you can go ahead and start doing that now. Just don't stress about it too much, because it's a little bit over 2 years away. So that's my thoughts on the whole ACFT replacing the APFT come October of 2020. I got another video coming for you guys tomorrow talking about something that was pretty interesting that's at the bottom of that article. So you guys, if you want to check out the article and get a little sneak peek to tomorrow's video, you can go ahead and do that. Link is in the description to the article that the Army posted or whatever. But if you guys made it to this video, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to check out some more videos, hit the subscribe button. That would be even better. And if you want to hit that notification bell button, hit that notification bell button. That would make my day. That is freaking awesome. If you guys are not following on Instagram and Snapchat, social media links are right there. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you later.